Hello all, and welcome back to the Junior Sport Podcast with Naeem. First, I need to wish you all a Happy New Year and thank you for your support thus far. Today, my guest has been the talk of the Boxing Society since his recent bronze medal performance at the AIBA World Boxing Championships in Serbia 2021. His third place finish is not only a great feat, but also the first Boxing World Championship medal for the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Please allow me to welcome the 2015 Caribbean Super Heavyweight Amateur Boxing Champion and Rio 2016 Olympian, Nigel Paul. Welcome, Nigel, to the Junior Sport Podcast with Naeem.
Appreciate it. Happy New Year to everybody, to all the viewers. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Nigel. It's an honor, and I couldn't wait to talk to you, and I'm really excited to hear your story and what you want to share with us about your journey with sport, about your journey in and out of the boxing ring. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
The first topic I want to get started on, Nigel, is of course your most recent success, which was the bronze medal at the AIBA World Championships in Serbia. So first question I want to ask you, as an athlete, I'm always curious and I want to know, what does it feel like being a World Championship medalist? Let me have it.
Sometimes, when you sit and you really start thinking about what you accomplish and what it means to the country and to the sport before you even start to think about what it means to you as a person, it really kind of bring things in perspective to know that somebody like me, who comes from what people will consider a crime-riddled area, a hotspot in Trinidad, could do something so great for the country. So just to be that example to the youths and to the people in general of Trinidad and Tobago, as to go out there and achieve something this great for the country, it feels amazing. Every day, you hear it, people keep reminding you and congratulating you. So it's like, it's just an honor to really offer up yourself in service for your country and see the heights and the lengths you could really reach for your country. That is a privilege and honor.
Oh, Nigel, very inspirational. And indeed, I always follow your Instagram and I can see all these guys, running with you in Enterprise in the morning. Sorry for exposing your address, by the way.
That's fine. Everybody.
Yeah, but I always see your Instagram stories and your WhatsApp and stuff with these guys running with you. And I'm sure even prior to this medal that they were motivated by you as being one of the elite boxers in the country, and they could learn so much from you now, and they have so much more motivation that, hey, one day that could be me, maybe in a lighter class, but one day that could be me.
Yeah, for sure, man. I just it's always hard moment to be running through the area and hearing people shouting out, "Boxer, you can do it, keep training, thing." And then others wanna come on board and join you, probably just go for a run or try to get fit. And it's always, it's an inspiration to inspire others, if you want to put it out.
Yeah, of course. You talk about people not running, but shouting behind you to keep going and stuff, and it reminds me of the movie Rocky. What are your thoughts about Rocky?
It's a great movie. Boxing really isn't that easy.
Yeah.
as the movie lets on, but I could relate to running through the streets and people cutting your run short because they want to give you fruits, so they want to give you, the community be really behind you. So I can relate to that seemingly movie where somebody threw a fruit frame or something like along the lines of the run. I had to change my route a few times so that my run isn't interrupted by people just wanting to give me things.
Oh my goodness.
I appreciate the gift. I know it's always a pleasure to have people support you to that level, but when you're training, you have to train. So I can't be running bags or stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really hard moment to know that the community can really rally behind you as an athlete and really feel proud that somebody from Enterprise could make it to this level and represent at this level.
Yeah, definitely, Nigel. Now, we're talking about Enterprise and coming from a community well known for crime and all this, sadly. But your preparation itself, right? Was it based on Enterprise?
Well, where I do my morning runs. Obviously, is where I live. But the national team we train at Pity Valley, Simeon Road in Pity Valley. There's where the national team is based right now. Given the fact that the whole pandemic and whatnot, the national stadium is on lockdown. Athletes, we have to be finding different ways and means to continue training. Being an athlete yourself is difficult to really find that safe space that you can operate and you can work with at a high level. So the national team we train at Pity Valley and one of the head coaches' gym is a secure location, nice and cozy, where we can go down and put in that work. But in terms of me, probably just doing like a morning run, 5K, 10K, just run around the enterprise run of it. Yeah.
And in terms of your preparation itself, was it different than any other championship you're preparing for? I mean, this was a World Championships. Now we know where you're preparing and how much you run in the morning and how much potassium your body might have and all the bananas you might get from all those neighbors. But now I want to know what the preparation was like. Was it different compared to other championships? Or
it was even coming into the sport from 2015, 2016 coming up. The pandemic changed everything in terms of training, how we view training, how we manage weight, how we manage the workload. First of all the gyms were shut down. So we had to resort to online training with the coaches because in the early stages of the pandemic, the gathering and social distancing and whatnot, not understanding yet how to function. So we had to get over that hurdle. Orlando, down at Aries Sports Performance, probably a little later into the pandemic when we started to operate a little more, he came down and did some work with me, strength work and whatnot, myself and Aaron Prince. At the time, the preparation that I was doing was geared towards the Olympics because, the qualifier for us was right around the corner and the team was training and they kept on postponing the qualifiers, pushing it back a little bit because of the spikes in the COVID cases and whatnot. So I was basically training myself and the team for the Olympics, for the qualifiers, because we weren't sure. And then it came down to where they selected boxers based off our ranking and points. And because I didn't win a Pan American medal, I was ranked third in the region at the time, and because I didn't win the medal, I fell back to fifth. And in my weight category, they took the top 4 boxers. So I missed it by that much. So this World Championship medal or this World Championship performance was really geared towards the Olympics. So when I found out that I wasn't going to the Olympics, so I didn't qualify, I just stayed the course, kept on training, didn't ramp up the workload, but we maintained because we knew that the next big event was the World Championships. So I didn't take no days off. I didn't get depressed. I didn't fall back in my bed and cry. I just kept on working. And yeah, for me, it was basically on to the next. I told myself, because I didn't go to the Olympics, I have to do something at the World Championships. And I was able to pull a bronze medal.
So did you take it personally more along the lines of, I need to prove it to myself, or what?
Yeah, I look at the situation that the pandemic brought towards me as that time to really refine my technique, to get my mind in a kind of place. I tried to see the bright side in most situations, and it hit me really hard. I wouldn't lie, it hit hard when I found out that I wasn't going to the Olympics because of what happened at Rio. I really wanted to go back and do something. So I was like, wait, that's 4 years just gone. I may have to wait another 3 before. I don't know if I'll be healthy enough, if I'll be strong enough, if I'll be young enough, because I'm already 32 and I'm boxing some serious stuff. So I took that step back and really kind of take a second to really think and put things in perspective. And I decided, let me just let me work on what needs to be worked on given this time, because that's why that's what I choose to see that opportunity as more time to be better, to get better. And yeah, we made full use of the extra months and headed to Serbia.
Yeah, optimism is key. You made use of your time very well, and here you are now. You look on your bright side, and
Yeah,
you got a nice shiny medal with it too.
yeah.
Now, Nigel, you were in Serbia. I'm sure it was cool at that point in time.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the start of winter in Serbia, so it started to get really.
So adaptation coming from Trinidad and Tobago, every day is 30 plus degrees, nighttime is 25, 27 degrees.
Yeah.
How did you manage the coldness, food, warming up, keeping yourself warm if a round is delayed or whatever?
For me, the experience in Serbia prior to the World Championships, I hadn't been to a tournament in almost 2 years because of the pandemic. So competing, it felt like a whole new experience, but at the same time it felt familiar because of being an athlete and competing. So the cold and stuff, it didn't bother me that much. I wouldn't say I used to it, but I knew, you go, you do research, and it's a cold place, so you prepare your mind, you prepare yourself to deal with it. The food, I don't eat like a heavyweight. Some people will be surprised when they see my plate. So that's why basically kind of like the concept of a beer. People are like, why you like beer so much? It's like, yeah, because beer eat a lot when they can't. And yeah, so probably going to a new country, I know a lot of people like to try new foods and whatnot. I kind of stay clear out of it. I keep my meals real specific to what I know, because it could really affect you in competition. So I adjusted to the food based on what I know I can digest or ingest or play. So but in terms of competition, I remember having a conversation with one of the newer boxers, Donald Phillip, calling the rookie. I give him a nickname, he doesn't like it, still call him rookie. So so I saw him looking a bit nervous. And to me, I was shaking. I felt like that was my first, I don't know, outing. That's the feeling I was getting, because it was a while. And I was talking to him, I was like, it's all right to be nervous, but at the same time, I'm talking to myself. I mean, I use that ability. I talk to him, but talking to myself, like, don't take it on. Nerves will be there. It's okay to be nervous. But I was basically talking to myself, given the fact that, in the atmosphere, when you see these bigger countries walking in, usually Trinidad, we have like really small teams. So we'll have like boxers. This World Championship was actually the most boxers we ever took at one point in time to the World Championships. Usually is myself, Aaron Prince, Michael Alexander. But they added a couple of new guys to the elite team and gave them that chance, because at the World Championships is where you get some rankings, some points to put here. So so you can basically start your journey to build up your points and make it to the top 50, top 30, top 10 in the world. So I was kind of basically trying to encourage you guys, but low key talking to myself with the nerves and whatnot. So adjusting for me is a serious mental game. Yes, I really and truly buckle down and prepare yourself for the best always.
I'm happy you got into news, because that was my next question. First competition in 2 years. I'm sure you must have felt some kind of shakiness in your stomach, somewhere, even in your arms when you're about to hit someone. But
you really feel it. You really feel it. Like I was saying, you see, and this World Championship was the biggest, largest World Championships in history, given the fact that they changed up the weight categories. And obviously they added prize money. AIBA started the initiative to reward the boxers at the games. So there was a huge turnout, and the bigger countries work with every division, and the smaller countries try to do the same. So it was like when you see these teams coming in one after the next, from the airport to the hotel, like, wait, really, time to work. So I mean, it was like all over the place.
But does the rookie, or what's his name again?
Donald Phillip.
Yeah. Does he know that you were somewhat using him to calm yourself down?
When we got back to Trinidad, I told him.
Okay.
When we got home, I was like, yo, I was talking to you, but I was nervous. He was looking, because as if it was his first time, him and Blessing Waldrop. It was their first time, so just they could actually tell us like looking all over the place, just looking around. Hey,
yeah.
So, I mean, I was doing the same thing. I just kind of use the opportunity to kind of check it.
Yeah, well, you're much more experienced too, so you could use that avenue to help yourself as well as help them, because I'm sure that they admired you coming to them and talking to them and saying, hey, you relax and do this and control your breathing and stay focused and all that. So I'm sure they appreciate that a lot, although you were using it more for yourself. That's smart.
Very true.
Nigel, I want to switch things up a bit and get more into your personal life and history with boxing. So coming from Enterprise, almost central of Trinidad and Tobago, how did this journey start? And well, it began in Enterprise, I suppose.
Yeah.
So how did it start?
Basically, how me getting into a boxing gym started. I was into basketball before. I used to play for a team in Londonville. And, going down to the basketball court or the football field, given the area that we're from, most of the time, most evenings, me and my younger brother, we had to kind of sneak out because our parents wouldn't like us going down to the basketball court because there's always some kind of shooting, some kind of bacchanal, something. So we had to wait until either they were asleep or not home to go down and get a sweat, so to speak,
Yeah.
Let's go. And all the fights. But my younger brother, he's a pretty good footballer. I don't know why he never tried out for any national team. He played for a couple of clubs. Quick side note, we made a bet, me and my younger brother, that I would try for the national boxing team and he would try for the national football team. And I went and I did my thing and he just stayed. It was like second more. But
all right.
That's a side note. It was basically for me at the point in time to learn self-defense, because there'll always be an incident where somebody might like a tackle or somebody might start a quarrel, and most evenings the sweat will done when a fight start.
Yeah.
Most evenings.
I know.
And I would just pick up my little brother, home time to go. But we was never, excluded from somebody trying to pick a fight with us. And once you're there, you're liable to somebody don't like how you tackle them or how you beat them. So I just wanted to learn to protect myself and my younger brother, because mommy and daddy didn't even know we wasn't home. So that's how the initial boxing idea came about. I'm gonna go buy some gloves and start a cover bag and whatnot. I like it. I started building a decent sweat. So I was like, you know what? I'll go to a gym and try to lose some weight. It might help me in basketball. And at the time, I went to Fine Line Fight Factory, as in Chagonas, with Sensei Ray and Sensei Ramutande. And I started training and whatnot. Yeah, you hear me? Yeah, started training and whatnot. And at the point in time, I was 19 years old. 19 years old, I was about 6'3" or 6'4". I was 250 pounds at the time. So I was like the size of, I wanted to.
Oh my God.
Basketball is a lot for somebody that big on your back, on your knees. So I was just trying to lose some weight. And they at Fine Line Fight, they thought I had a gift. They could see it. So they started training me really hard. I was enjoying the training. I was losing weight. I was feeling good. But at the point in time, I went back to school to do some subjects, and I started doing graphic designs. So I had school, like classes, my graphic design course going on. I was working, at the time I was working at Pizza Hut, you know, just to get some money to pay for school and to help out whatever the case is, and then boxing. So I was swamped. And my dad, he was like, yo, you're doing too much. You had to let go something. I was like, wait, so I was stuck with the decision to, what should I stop at that point in time? And at that point in time, I decided to like let go of boxing because I wasn't competing in any nationals. I was just doing it for fitness and basically for fun, self-defense. So, you know, I finished with school. I did my course, whatever the cases, and I just never found the time to get back into a boxing gym. And that was 19. So 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I had a friend of mine started boxing. And I think that they went to the Cayman Islands for a tournament. And he was beating people and winning medals. I was like, yo, I can beat you. Like, better I start back to box, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having, you know, friends that go to the gym and work out and whatnot, they really started to encourage me. And at that time, at 25, I was around 6'5", 300. I was like borderline in here, 300. It would fluctuate 290, 300, you know, according to, because I was still involved in sport, but I started getting bigger and heavier.
Yeah.
I was borderline in 300. And yeah, that's why I got in contact with Floyd Trumpet. And that's when I went back. And from the time he looked at me, he was like, I want to train you for the Olympics. I was like, I just want to box. You don't need to train me up, like, you know?
Yeah.
I want to train you for the Olympics. And at the point in time, the Olympics was less than a year away. And I was like, okay, if I train you for free, bet. That was my response. Because I mean, you would expect to pay the coaches and whatnot. And he said, you want to train me for free for the Olympics? I was like, bet. And,
all right.
And that's where the actual journey with me competing started.
What year was that?
That was 2015, just after the carnival. Because while I am a Christian, I go to church. Both my parents, they are pastors. So for the carnival season, I don't really take part in carnival. The church, we have like church camps. You know, so I told him, I was like, well, I'll go to church camp first. When I come back from camp, we can start. And he was like, okay, fine, go to camp, have fun. Because when I come back,
with work.
Yeah,
I know. Wow, 2015, and then you went to Rio 1 year after. That's fast.
Yeah, it was crazy because Trumpet told me we have 4 years worth of work to do in less than 11 months. And we sat down and he was like, you think you're up for it? I was like, yeah, you know, all bright tie and bushy tail. Let me do this thing. When the work start, for the first, because I had a good base from Fine Line, he didn't have to teach me the basics. He just had to get me in shape, basically. So for the first 2-3 months, I was running nonstop. I was running running in training, and then running back home. That was my training. I was just running, cardio. So I run down to the field, down in Esmeralda, Homelands, run down to the field 4:30, 5 in the morning, train, we'd run, burpees, sprints, push-ups, sit-ups, everything, box jumps, and then I would run home. And we did that for about a month and a half or 2 months before national championships at the point in time. And before national championships, I had already lost like about close to 25 to 30 pounds. So I was feeling better because, you know, the training working, feeling good. So I got cough on people like real bad. So I went to national championships. I won gold. And at the time, Floyd Trumpet, he was the national coach. So the criteria to be on the national boxing team is that you have to win all that national championships, and then you'll be invited to train with the national team. You're not basically a member of the national team just yet. You'll be invited to train with the team. So I was invited to train with the national team. And the next criteria to make it to the national team to be selected to go out and compete is that you have to win gold at the Caribbean level. So it's national, you'll be invited to train with the team, and then when you win Caribbean, then you can basically say, okay, you're the best of the Caribbean at that weight division. So you'll be able to get Trinidad to the Blue Jersey, so to speak. So I won nationals, I won Caribbean, and I guess it was just the energy being pushed behind me. I was selected for the Rio test event. I went to that. Obviously, I lost because I was still little to no experience competing at a high level, and because of that, I had a good performance. Still, when people started to query about me and find out this man boxing what, 6 months, 7 months, and doing all this, I was selected for WSB, that's the World Series of Boxing. That's like semi-pro. First Trinidadian to ever be selected for that as well, with the Mexican Guerreros. That was before the Olympics. I went competed. I lost my fight again. I had potential, but no experience going up against guys who doing it for years. So for me, it was at the point in time building experience, the atmosphere, the lights, the song, whatever the case is. And I even, in that year, I went to my first World Championships. I thought I won. When I look back at the fight, I fought, the name of the country just slipped. I fought the guy. I got a couple of illegal shots, like low blows and whatnot. They kind of take the win out of my bit. I was looking at the referee like, yo, hell. But again, experience. And it was just one thing after the next. And exactly what Trumpet told me, I had to do 4 years of work within some months. So I went national, Caribbean, World Championships, Rio Test event, WSB, all that within a 10 to 11 month period. So it was one thing after the next. I was in after Trinidad. My parents was like, you never home since you started doing this boxing thing. Not home, you never in Trinidad. So I was like, this thing.
Tony Will, come on.
So it was, I mean, it was fun. And I was like swiftly becoming like one of the prospects that people was kind of anxious to see. I wasn't winning. That was the hard part for me because I don't like to lose. But given the fact that I just started to compete and already competing at a high level on like big stage. On the big stages, people was kind of rooting for me to win. Like, we hope you win, we hope you win. So the energy was amazing, and the experience was fun, and that led me all the way up to the 2016 qualifiers for Rio. The newest heavyweight or on the block, so to speak, going up against guys who had years and tons of experience.
It's their job, right? It's a livelihood.
I thought I was gonna be out in the first round. To be honest with you, I know it was good, but I mean, I'm good by losing. So I wouldn't say it become a norm, but at the point in time, I was just in my mind trying to build experience, and that's where the coach Floyd, and hats off to him. He's an amazing coach and even mental coach, because sometimes you need it. You just need somebody to get physically ready. You need somebody to get mentally ready. And he sat me down when we got to Argentina, and he's like, okay, time to stop losing. That's what he told me. We here now, this is what we train for. All the losses and the tournaments going before was just building experience. You had 1 or 2 wins in between, but now it's time. To stop losing. This is what we train for. And I went out. I went up against Ecuador. At the time, he was ranked 15 in the world. And I beat him. And then, because of how boxing works, tournament style, obviously, they will put the higher boxers on the different end of the table, so they wouldn't be too early. So I was considered like a low boxer, so I would bounce up one of the higher ranked fighters early in the tournament. And my second fight, I had to fight Venezuela. and he was the number one seed in that tournament. He was the number one ranked in the region at that point in time. And I was like, yeah, he's a good time. Yeah, and then Shumpert we sat and looked at him while he was training, and he's a good fighter, hats off to him, but condition-wise, I know I could have beat him on condition because, again, I didn't have had much time to work on technique and becoming a great fighter. I took it from the angle of I was able to run a 10K at that point in time, 10K in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, being
Okay.
250 pounds.
Jeez,
I was
okay.
able to run with the lighter guys. So condition-wise, I knew anytime I see anybody exhale, we're dead. Because I was super fit. It was crazy. But that size, and he was a bit on the, the little sluggish side. Like he's a good technical fighter, but condition-wise, coach just go at him. Carry him, just go at him. And that's why I did beat him. And everybody was shocked. And then I went on to fight the Argentine. The Argentine was ranked 12th in the world. I beat him, and I made it to the finals. For Cuba, and I would have personally, I would have liked to beat the Cuban, but in the Argentine, going up against the Argentine, I had hurt my hand, and my knuckle was swollen. And coach asked me, he's like, okay, you're already qualified. You want to fight? I was like, yeah, I want the gold. I want a gold medal. I was like, okay, let me fight. And in the fight, it was really a lot of discomfort. And the banging fight that everybody was expecting, even from the Cuban, it didn't happen. So it was a bit of a disappointment for the crowd. And even after, the tournament was over, they had us doing the drug testing and whatnot. So me and the Cuban, we sat and talked. And he was asking me, like, Trinidad, why you didn't fight hard? I showed my hand. My hand swelled. And he goes up. He hand swelled just something. So two of us, we just fight just because.
Yeah.
But I mean, technically, the Cubans, they are superior.
Yeah. They're beast.
Boxing, they have a wonderful boxing program. We work with the Cubans. We even like in leading up to different tournaments. So hats off to them. Technically, I was beat.
Even the badminton players, they're quite sharp, and they're very physically and mentally strong because of the environment that they train in and stuff, and they are hard workers.
Yeah. They have a sporting program in Cuba that, I mean, is top level.
Yeah.
All across the board.
Surely. Nigel, you are a super heavyweight boxer, the highest or heaviest weight class, right? How many other classes are there?
Well, recently, they changed up the weight classes. I think there's up to 12 or 13 now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before, they were about, I think, 9. And because of people having to manage weight and the weight cuts and the weight loss process that some people put themselves through, I'll show you kind of familiar with boxers and having to cut weight and whatnot is a real. It's something to look at. I never experienced it because I could be how heavy I want in my division. Is the 92 plus. Well, before it was 91 plus. But it's 92 plus kgs category. So once I'm over 92 kgs, anyway up what I can be, how heavy I want to be, once I can manage it, I'm fine. So I never had to worry about cutting weight. But for me, the coaches they know my ideal weight, the weight where I perform the best, I move, I feel comfortable, whatnot. So we try to hover around that as best as possible. It's not mandatory, but they try to keep me, okay, you had the most success at this weight. Let's try to maintain whatever the case is, as opposed to the lighter guys fighting in fly or bantam. Sometimes they come training at 2-3 pounds over and is mayhem. The coach is upset because for you to lose weight and still train hard is a lot on your body.
Yeah.
So it takes a certain level of discipline maintain. So I really respect the guys in lighter division. I don't envy them, but I respect them a lot. Given the fact that they have to maintain weight, and especially in a time like this Christmas time, because I went back to training. I went back to training like about 10 kgs over my.
Oh my goodness, 10 kg.
10 kgs. I was like, what I was doing for this Christmas?
Jesus.
But again, for me, I am around a while now. I can't no longer say that I'm new to the sport. So for me to bring back down the way to have it in control, I already lost since I weighed myself Old Year's Day. That's the last day we had training. Old Year's Day, like around 3. And I weighed myself yesterday. After training, I really lost like about 4 kgs.
Okay.
So it was literally just a little ham and
all the extra calories, not the extra sweets and all that. Okay.
Just to lock off and get back to the grind. So
now we're talking about lightweights and super heavyweights, and from what I see, you are the biggest boxer in Trinidad and Tobago on your national team. So when you're sparring with these guys, you're sparring 2 against 1. How are you going to spar with these guys? Because I'm sure one punch and they get them down. So
well, for me, I try to work with everybody. But when it comes to the lighter fighters, I would just work defense. I wouldn't throw any punches. So head movements, distancing, those kind of things. What I would work the lighter fighters with. We have guys on the team where they are my height, but they're lighter. So I would probably just work my jab, because as long in boxing, the heavier you are, the slower people expect you to be. A lot of people say, well, from the boxing world, think that I am slow. I'm really not that slow, given the fact that I've worked with lighter guys coming all the way up. So my hand speed, I wouldn't boast about it, but it's okay. So I would, like with the taller guys, even though the lighter, I would work the jab, try not to put too much power behind it, but given the fact that they could move a little faster and they're a little more agile than me, they'll be able to evade or slip or whatnot. So that would kind of build my eyesight in terms of catching punches, moving or whatnot. When it comes to sparring, the method we took back then, we tried to pay people to come work with me, because there are 1 or 2 active professional boxers in Trinidad, heavyweights. So when I have big tournaments, we try to get them to come in and give me some work, or just try to get me out of Trinidad to get into a camp where there are heavier fighters that I could really kind of express myself in terms of releasing my punches and having heavy punches come back at me. So working with the smaller guys, we just try to, make the best of what we have. These guys are quick, they're up on you, all over you. So for me to get away or move or twist or whatever it takes to work with them, we try to work with what we have. So that's the story of that.
And earlier we spoke about the movie Rocky, and you said that boxing isn't that easy, right? The funny question I have for you is, how are you dealing with a sore face? I'm sure it must hurt. At some point, Nigel, you can't tell me it's not gonna hurt. I'm sure you had a busted eye before, a blue face. So I need to know, how are you dealing with this, and how are you telling yourself, my face is sore now, and I'm gonna go back to the ring tomorrow and fight some more because I like this. So explain to me what kind of crazy thoughts you have about this, because I don't get it.
The thing about boxing is that a bleeding nose or busted lip for boxers is like another day of training. Okay. Because that is what we do.
Yeah.
So you can't really worry. Sometimes I have cuts on my lip. If I probably squeeze my nose too hard, I'm gonna get blood from like the day before. So dealing with that is a normal thing. What I thank God for is that I have a real chubby face. So even if my eye is swollen, you wouldn't really see it that much because he doesn't have a fat face. So I have like bumps all over my face, and the only person that notices every little mark or swelling on my face is my mom. I will have
As
to
it
come
should
home with
be.
a towel over my head. Just everybody else is like, hey, man, you reach home on the cases thing. But my mom, come here.
Yeah.
What do you in training? So she sees everything. Nothing gets past my mom. So
Mama's boy.
dealing with the little nicks and knacks and bruises and swelling, coming into the sport is almost a norm. Because sometime in the gym, the coaches will say, okay, 10%. So everybody touching, playing. And then any given day, he'll say, okay, today we're working 90%. 90% is lash. It's like just under competing. As in terms of, if I catch you with a good 1-2, boom, boom, and I see you rocking in a fight, I will try to put you down.
Yeah.
But in training, I will ease up and, you okay, you're good.
Yeah.
And try to knock you out in the training. But if it was a fight, I knock you out. So there are days when even from a training session, you go home and you're like, feeling that you can't eat properly. So in competition, it's like you're already used to it. Basically, boxers, it's really not easy.
I can understand.
It takes some getting used to.
Yeah, I can understand they getting used to it, but at the same time, I mean, how do they get used to that over time? Because I mean, if you're seeing things like you can't eat properly and you're having cuts and bruises in your mouth and your lips and your nose, okay, you're on a different level of psycho, but we'll leave that for a different episode.
It's just, I mean, it comes with the territory. I don't know how to, you just have to deal with it.
You see, this is why smaller people like me play badminton, non-contact sport. You have your own space on your nice little court. We're not touching anyone. We have good distance. The worst that might happen is that somebody smash a shuttle at you and hit you in your shoulder or your stomach or something. But that mark gonna be there for 20 minutes and done. Nobody gonna see that. Nothing. Yeah. But in your case, all the best.
For us, that's the hard part about boxing. We always say in most sports, when you lose, you just lose. But in boxing, when you lose, you get licks.
It hurts. You're gonna hurt.
You get beat.
Yeah.
In boxing, so that's the difference.
You're gonna hurt you in your mind, and you're gonna hurt you in your body too.
Physically too, yes.
I'm not sure I could deal with all that, but yeah.
Well, it'll be a lot sometimes. It'll be a lot.
I want to change things up again, Nigel. I want to get more into some motivation and how you deal with some critics. And I say critics because we talked about this earlier, where you said that at Rio Olympics, you could have done better. And you're fighting guys who are fighting for their, they've been fighting all their life. They fight for a livelihood. This is their job. This is their profession, and you just came into the circle, with 11 or 10 months of training. So before I ask you how you do with motivation, I want to talk about your critics part, where after Rio Olympics, everyone could have seen that people were talking about this boxer. He just come out of nowhere. He went to the Olympics and he didn't do anything. He had a total knockout in the first round. And all this nonsense. So, how did you deal with this mentally and pushing through that phase? You're a world championship medalist now. You basically proved them wrong, not intentionally. You prove it to yourself, but at the same time, you just tell them to shut up because you prove yourself. And at that point in time in 2016, after all this drama, how did you deal with it coming back into training and hearing all these thoughts and opinions and stuff? What was going through your mind then?
First of all, before getting into sports, what I like people to understand about me is I kind of put myself in people's shoes. So before, and I will always say, getting involved in sports at this level, I have the utmost respect for athletes in every single sport. Every sport that you offer up yourself to represent the red, white, and black, hats off to them. Because the general public might have an idea, but they don't know for sure how much we put ourselves through in every sport, mentally and physically. So I respect every athlete equally, given the fact that I am in it So I know it firsthand. But before this, I myself was a heavy critic on athletes. At the point in time, well, back then, I believe Trinidad wasn't good in nothing. Like, we was the worst. We should just stop play sports on a whole, just forget sports. The ministry should just lock off sports in Trinidad. That's how I used to think.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, right? So when I hear people in my case saying XYZ about me, and I went to the Olympics and I got knocked out, and we're not understanding or knowing how much work I did, what I did before, where I come from, how far I have to go. The public doesn't really want to hear that. All right? You go win. If you don't win, you're not good.
Yeah.
That's as clear cut as they see it. It's unfortunate, really, that we have people that think that way. I remember even coming back home, how I dealt with it, I paid attention and valued the opinion of people who were in it, not even so much my family members. I'm talking about like fellow athletes, because I had my phone ringing with big name athletes calling me and encouraging me. I was like, will you get my number? No, for real though. I had, I think it was Shaka Hislop called me, Richard Thompson, and these, I was like, how these fellas even find my contact to just include, like, Paul, we see what happened, don't study it, keep going, keep training. I even met with Brian Lara. I said, Lara, know my name? Oh, no, for real though. So while Trinidad was basically bashing me at the point in time, I had these greats in sports encouraging me. So I could have cared less what people were saying. I had people who I looked up at in sports calling me on my little phone and encouraging me. So again, I tried to look on the bright side, and I really took it from that aspect of, if these guys telling me that they faced the same thing coming through, and everybody saying, oh, this one's so great and that one's so great, and they can relate to me firsthand, when we feel these same people who call me great cutting your throat. So don't take them on, do your thing. I was like, wait, that kind of help cushion some of the blow of dealing with. I mean, I was a mean. I was like, people serious. It was funny. I won't lie, because coming from, I have 4 brothers and a sister, and there's non-stop old talk, non-stop. We laugh at everything, even to the fact where when I got knocked out at the Olympics, the first call I got was from my oldest brother, and that was like later on in the night, and he was like, hey, we see what happened. All right, the doctors check you. I was like, yeah, we good. We did the concussion protocol. Everything is fine. I was cleared and whatnot. And he's like, all right, cool. Everybody just want to make sure you're good. And then there was like a brief 3 seconds of silence. And then I hear, for real, on everything. This man started laughing at me on the phone, like, dog, you get knocked out. Calling it. I was like, I said, yeah, I was there, no. And like, hold on, put me on loudspeaker. Everybody laughing at me. What's that? Take. So it started at home. Sorry to everybody in Trinidad who thought they were the first to laugh at me. Yeah. Brother and sister. They had a time that night, but I mean, it was all in good fun. It was just trying to, get me to not be down on myself, just, laugh at myself a little bit, and, it happened.
Find the humor in it.
So, yeah. So, I mean, growing up in that kind of environment, I saw the posts, I saw the memes, and I was laughing. I think I went live that night after the fight, and people was encouragement thing. I was like, yo, get all the jokes out now, Yeah. Everybody was a cool scene. It was a cool vibe. So I just tried to make light of the situation and keep my head up. basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, everyone had their laugh, and I'm sure you found you found the good side of the humor in it. And
Yeah.
I saw the knockout too. I was home at that point actually, and I mean, I can't say if I thought it was funny because it looked like it hurt. And of course, somebody as big as you falling down might look funny sometimes, but the way it happened wasn't really funny. But I guess those who are closest to you, they can laugh at it a bit more because they know exactly what you go through and how you handle those things. So that's
Yeah.
okay. But what about motivation, Nigel? Like, how do you deal with motivation throughout your days and when you don't feel like getting up in the morning to go run and training and stuff? And of course, you're tired and all that. How do you battle all those mental stuff?
Well, have been invited through TTOC, the Ministry of Sports, and even working with Trying to be able police service, youth clubs, going into different schools and programs and speaking to youths. And something I became quite fond of, sharing my experience, trying to be an example to a lot of young people. And I always share this story with them. Personally, what made me want to do something with my life, not just do something to live, but do something with my life. I had a friend of mine that I went to school with at the junior sec level. I went to Shigona's junior secondary and then Shigona's senior secondary. The names are changed now with Shigona's North and Shigona's South.
Yeah.
At the point in time, it was that.
Quick side note.
Yeah.
My first ever badminton club, I believe still trains there, but when I started to play badminton basically full time with a club, was at the club that practices in Shoguna's North Secondary. Quick side note. Yeah.
Probably I maybe saw you sometime, I don't know, because I used to like after school, like in evening time.
Yeah, we used to be there. I started there in 2013, 2012 actually. And yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So like when I go to these talks and whatnot, there's a guy that I wouldn't mention his name that we went to school with, and he was killed in gun violence. He's not a gang member. He wasn't involved in anything of the sort. He was just at basically the wrong place at the wrong time. Was where he lived, and he died, unfortunately. And I met up with another friend of mine. 3 of us was in the same class. We sat close to each other. And I was trying to relate to him like, yo, so-and-so died. And he was like, who? And I was trying to explain to him, and it was a bit frustrating because I started saying, wait, like I'm making this person up. But I know for a fact that we went to school together. We sat, we played, we lined every week. I was with boy, like. And not for nothing, this next individual, can I remember him. And I went home and I was a bit sad. I was like, how could you not remember like our friend? Like how? And then it kind of dawned on me that young men, we dying so much and so often from gun violence and crime and whatnot that you're literally being forgotten by, to me, people who's supposed to remember you. And I didn't want that for myself. Honestly, I was like, so what if I die?
That's a big question, my friend.
Who would remember me?
Yeah.
Because clearly your friends that you went to school with wouldn't. So you might just be a memory to your family only. Like you really can't.
Almost a memory in some cases, because apparently to your friend they couldn't remember anything.
You understand? So from that I started thinking, what can I do so that where I'm from, community, the area, the country can remember my name. And that's what really drives me, because it's not about money for me. It's not about fame, really and truly. I just want to be a part of the history of the country.
Yeah.
And so that's what really drives me and motivates me to do what I do.
You kind of put us in a well, not kind of, but put it in a sad way in terms of your friend dying and nobody remembering and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish you all the best, Nigel, in becoming part of history. And you already are part of history, so don't forget that you are the first first medalist for World Championships. I mean, of course, you want to make more history. You're a professional boxer, but just don't forget the things that has happened in the past. You are part of history now, and even before your medal, you were part of history. So you've been paving your own way since then. And Nigel, the last topic I have for us today is about boxing development in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would like to start with is what can or should be done if Trinidad and Tobago would like to pursue better or more results with elite boxing.
Firstly, myself, Aaron Prince, Tiana Dai, and a couple of the other boxers, we personally want to see the development of boxing in Trinidad, but we understand from the athlete's point of view that we need to change the narrative, change the perspective of people on boxing, where people would think that boxers, the uneducated boxers, the dumb is barbaric and only a certain kind or certain selected people would get into boxing. So, I mean, we try to elevate ourselves personally as to where, as opposed to, let's say, track and field, where you have people getting scholarships and whatnot to go abroad, study, and compete. We've pitched ideas to the association where we should really try to get back, because I've heard in the past there were programs like that, and a lot of parents wouldn't allow the son, the daughter to go full time into boxing because parents may not see a benefit, as opposed to if your son is a track star or a track and field athlete, scholarships are available because you see where track and field athletes get that opportunity. So from that level, getting people to really buy into boxing as a livelihood or a stepping stone in your life. Us, the boxers right now, we are really and truly trying to make it accessible and visible for the public. As if your son say or daughter says to you, I want to do boxing, mommy, or I want to go and start boxing, daddy. If you look down the road, you can say, okay, you know, of Nigel Paul, he did XYZ academically, you know, of Tiana Guy, she did XYZ, and certain doors were open for her, and even Prince and the younger boxers coming up. So we really have to change the perspective or change the view of boxing before we can even really start having people buying into or find up themselves, so to speak, to the sport. But in the immediate, we are seeing a spike in the interest in boxing in Trinidad, where even they had this thing down in Sealots. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, yeah.
I really, to be honest with you, I like the idea of it at the community level, but the way that they are going about it is wrong. Obviously, it's illegal, it's COVID, is, you understand, not sanctioned properly and whatnot, so there are dangers involved. And it's like you're doing something that should be good, but you're making it bad. So the idea of having, you know, young men from the community coming and boxing and whatnot, they come just like back in the day when we have like community sports day.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing, but with boxing. But that is more structured. In this time, given the pandemic and and whatnot is totally wrong. I don't agree with the timing.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the methods. But the idea of that, to me, you can uncover a lot of talent in those types of, the community events. So things like that, if not the situation we're in right now, would have been something excellent. And my medal at the World Championships kind of came on the heel of that, as to where boxing was already hot in Trinidad, so to speak. I mean, at the street level, we call it street level, or the underworld, as some people like to call it. So kind of hype up the boxing vibe. People was into boxing.
Yeah.
And again, me, that was kind of the energy kind of emulated and kind of was pushed my way. And given the fact I know everybody into boxing right now, made me feel to do something extra. So things like that is what will elevate boxing, or what will push boxing at the elite and the ground level. So we really kind of exploring the options, looking at it very carefully, working along with the ministry and the Trinidad Boxing Association. There are already talks of getting boxing back into schools again. We are going through a pandemic, so most of it is just planning.
Yes.
I mean, when things happen, that we can actually get back to some level of normalcy in the world. We have talks and more planning, but we have ideas. The boxers, myself, Aaron Prince, Michael is not competing right now. He's trying to get back, to that place where he can enter into the ring. The older or the more senior boxers, we basically on our way out. There's a new team coming in, so the turnover of boxers will be something happening very soon. But we plan to get back on the administration part, the administrative part of boxing, and really try to push boxing on the ground level. So very soon in the future, we'll have a decent program that people can really want to buy into.
Yeah, and a bigger society as well. You talk about C-lots, and of course it's funny to see, especially that I'm here now, and you see these Instagram lives of people fighting in rings and C-lots and beat them and stuff, and then people don't get in trouble for it and all that. And you talk about it being not sanctioned properly, and there's risk because of the pandemic and all that. But besides the risk, it's actually a good idea, but it should be done properly in terms of, okay, there's a referee there, and at least an ambulance there in case somebody gets their head knocked out, or somebody's eye get busted, whatever the case may be. But you're damn right, it should be sanctioned properly. But in a case like this with the pandemic and all that, need to hold strain it just a bit more. But the idea is there, and the idea is alive, which means that people see something in it, and they want to do something, so they're itching to just move, and and I want to be like this guy, or so something is there, something is being ignited, if you want to put it that way. For sure. Nigel, I think that's all I have here for you today from the Junior Sport Podcast. We got through a lot of content, and I'm extremely grateful that you shared your story since you were basically 19 years old. And I want to thank you, of course, for allowing me to interview you here, where you can share special insight to your life, the boxing society of Trinidad and Tobago, the boxing world, and special insight inside the ring, and of course outside. And again, I want to wish you all the best in your future endeavors, future bouts, and thanks again, my friend.
I appreciate the call. Thanks for your support. I know, follow me on social media and whatnot. I like my stuff and share my stuff, so I appreciate your support. And we as athletes really need to support each other, stick together, and really fly the flag high. So thanks again for having me.
Yeah, no problem, Nigel. It was a pleasure, and we'll keep in touch, my friend.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, for now, goodbye.
Yeah, man. Take care.
Well, folks, before I finally close off, I would like to give thanks to all of you again who have been supporting me with this podcast for the past year. Your kind words, donations, and feedback are greatly appreciated. Thanks to Nigel again for sharing his journey with us. We hope that his story can inspire many, not only in the boxing society, but in all sporting disciplines. Thank you, and goodbye for now.